Arsenal get the job done again. A confident 2-0 win over Olympiakos with goals from Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka, bringing them on the score sheet. The Gunners are looking like obviously Champions League contenders, and 2 games played, 2 wins. Let's look at the reaction. Welcome back to All About Arsenal. It's time for another quick match reaction stream. Arsenal played against Olympiakos in the Champions League. I had to watch along for that as well. And of course, it was an interesting game. A couple of changes were made in the starting lineup, which we'll touch on. But what was key to note was that at the end of 90 minutes, it was yet another clean sheet for Arsenal, with Mikel Arteta's men getting 2 good goals from their wingers, Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka. So we're going to quickly go to the match reaction, see what panned out, see how everything went, and talk some more around it. So I will start with the confirmed lineups. It was interesting to see a couple of changes that were made by the gaffer. Miles Lewis Kelly and Ben White got run out. So I expected Calafiori and Timber to sit this one out. But I was thinking Mosquera would also come into the side, but it was still Gabriel and Saliba with fire. Yes, this will always be an easy game on paper, but sometimes you need to put your best players to give you that best shot of actually getting the victory. So Arsenal did very well on the night, brought on the likes of Saliba and Gabriel. Because Zabalaga actually started this one out on the bench with Raya playing in the Champions League. In midfield, Merino came back into the lineup with Declan Rice getting a rest, a well-deserved rest. Rice was one of our amazing players over the weekend against Newcastle. Can never forget that long busting run he did to ensure that Jacob Murphy didn't score that counter attack in the transition play. It was good to see Declan Rice get some rest. Odegaard started this time. He was trying to build his fitness. He was on the bench against Newcastle, but he led the line this time. In attack, Bukayo Saka got a rest with Leandro Trossard and Gabriel Martinelli playing on the wings. And of course, Victor Gyökeres was the one that was in attack. It was good to see how Arsenal did very well to keep the squad very fresh. The bench looked so stacked. They were like huge names there: Grace Meze, Bukayo Saka, Timber, Rice, Waneri, Dauman. Like the depth in national squad right now is downright amazing. And it was good to see how Mikel Arteta decided to give these players a well-deserved rest. Obviously, all eyes will be on deck for the game against West Ham, no doubt. But Olympiakos was in front of us, and we needed to, get the victory against them in the Champions League. As we know, everyone plays 8 games, 4 in your home and 4 away, and you have to win all those games to at least get to the top 8. This season, the top 4 are going to actually be guaranteed to have their second leg in their home ground. I know Arsenal last season they finished third in the group phase behind Barcelona and Liverpool. So it's going to see how the Gunners are going to do it this time. So I love the lineup. There's a level of freshness in it. And one key thing was that Arteta promised this season that there was going to be unpredictability and they're going to use players that he trusts. And you can see that right now, players as big as Rice, players as big as Saka, were on the bench today. Even our Maverick signing in Berezi Easy was actually on the bench as well today because Arteta could trust that the other player that he was going to bring on the pitch were going to also perform. Okay, good to see a couple of folks live on the chat. Thanks for being around. You can also put your comments and we'll talk through them as well. As for the Olympiacos, they were riding high from their win over Leverkusen over the weekend with Ortega and Costinha playing in the fullback positions. Pirola and Restes were, and on centre back with Zozakis in midfield. There was also a positioning for Heze and Dani Garcia in the middle of the pack. They were the one that were expected to challenge the likes of Zubimendi and Merino, for that midfield battle. And Chiquinho, who had 2 goals over the weekend, plays in attacking midfield, while Gelson Martin started ahead of Strefeza, and of course, former Wolves player Danny Prudence played on the left. Their dangerous striker El Kabi led the line for them. It was quite an interesting game. El Kabi actually played a role in almost could have been an equalizer, but unfortunately he was offside. So the lineup was very good. Arsenal did well with players that were expected to play on the pitch, and it was good to see how they gelled well. One player that had a good game to me was the Jokeres. He didn't score as well, but he continued to do well in his build-up play. Those numbers that we saw in Portugal, obviously, we're not going to see them this season in the Premier League. But what was important was that the lineups were good in the sense that the depth was amazing. Zubimendi obviously started ahead of Christian Morgan this time. But what was key to note was that Arsenal I think they had a team that he could trust. Miles Lewis Kelly was someone that was an ever-present player last season. Started ahead of Calafiori back when he was struggling with injuries. Started ahead of Zinchenko and even Kieran Tierney. But this time, obviously, it had been a good battle with Calafiori, but Calafiori had to get some rest, allowing Miles to play. And Miles reminded us of how good he really is. He's one player that is an Arsenal player through and through, and we got to see his combative side again, inverting from the middle and taking on a couple of markers. There was one time he had an amazing chance where he slalom past 3 to 4 players, and it just goes to show how confident on the ball Miles Lewis Kelly is. Ben White, I don't know whether he's going to displace Timber this season, but obviously he's still trying to work his way to full fitness. But he's one player that I love. I love how he comes forward and comes back. And it's something that we just have to keep watching. The match opener was quite interesting. We started from the back, and of course, Martin Odegaard, who had an amazing game, fed a beautiful through pass to Victor Gyökeres. Gyökeres was kind of, struggling with the defender, but he managed to, push him off. And he blasted the shot that skimmed through the goalkeeper. So when it looked like the ball was, about to creep into the net, Martinelli followed the ball to allow Gyökeres ball to go in. But when the ball clipped the post, obviously, Martinelli was on hand to quickly dink it into the goal. It was a 1.09 XG chance. There was no way in hell he was going to miss that. And Martinelli has scored 3 goals for the club this season. And the first one being that beautiful goal against Athletic Bilbao, where he reached out to Trossard's ball and ran through the defense to score. The second goal being that lovely dink over Gigi Donnarumma when Arsenal played against Manchester City. And now he has scored his third goal, all from the centre. So I'm happy for Martinelli. He's someone that was under intense scrutiny at the start of the season. His prison was somewhat indifferent. He didn't really play as well as people expected him to. And in Arsenal's opening games, he really struggled. But what we can see now that this is a player that has built his confidence and Arteta trusts him to deliver. There are games he will play on the bench, there are games he will start. But sometimes when you are starting, you need to let the coach know why he chose you. And Martinelli had done just that with yet another important goal that Arsenal needed to lead the game. While the game was still ongoing, there was also another chance that Odegaard fashioned for Victor Gyökeres, which was a beautiful through pass. He basically called round the defense, but obviously the defender kind of charged Gyökeres and he blasted the ball at the back. That looked more like a corner kick to me, but it's what it is. As for Arsenal's match clincher, it came very late in the 91st minute, and this was quite interesting because towards I think it was 70th minute or thereabout, Arteta took out Leandro Trossard, who had quite an interesting game, and Gabriel Martinelli, the scorer, and replaced them both with Eberechi Eze and Bukayo Saka. When the game started, Eze was on the left wing, strutting his stuff, while Saka was on the right. Saka actually had one good chance where he dribbled Ortega and caught the ball back from the byline. And Martin Odegaard had just the goalie to beat. It was actually in the penalty spot. But what he did, he fired a shot that went straight at the goalie, and he had a rebound that clattered off the defender to go for a corner kick. That was a very high XG chance that was missed. But one interesting thing to note was that Bukayo Saka went to the left wing while Iberichi Eze was on the right wing. And Odegaard fed Saka with the ball on the left. He dribbled his marker and blasted the ball through the goalkeeper's legs to make it 2-0. The goalkeeper was very, very disappointed in himself for allowing that goal in. With all honesty, we did not care. The way Saka saw his chance was beautiful, and it was what we always expect in a player like him. Moving to the tactics, Arteta's tactics were on point yet again. The defense was amazing. And of course, I have to give a massive shout out to David Raya. There was this chance that Daniel Podence had when Chiquinho crossed it from the left hand side, right hand side, sorry. And Podence got ahead of Ben White, and that ball was going to the top corner. But our goalie was, amazing. Our goalie was amazing with that beautiful save. Like it was an amazing save, like a very, very, very lovely save. And of course, for someone that is hardly being pressured in any game he plays, Raya's concentration has always been on point, something that he's renowned for. I'm very pleased to see what he did in the game. Of course, it was the midfield battle. Odegaard had an amazing game. He was everywhere, covered every bit of grass, and he was back to his creative best. It has been a long time since you saw Odegaard cook like this. Odegaard was everywhere. Like he would drop deep to collect the ball, even behind Zubimendi, and he would basically start the game from the defense, move up, and he was spraying passes with consummate ease, and his passes were cutting to the Olympiakos defense like hot knife on butter. It was amazing to see how he played. Obviously, Zubimendi had another simple good game, as you'd expect from Arsenal, and the tactics were on point. Our defense were really good. The only cause for concern I had was when Costinha crossed the ball and Raya went to catch that ball, but Gabriel was under him. So Raya kind of landed on Gabriel, and I think he affected his shoulder. But obviously, we had a player as good as Mosquera on the bench. So rather than trying to allow Gabriel play through the pain, I immediately removed him to allow Mosquera come in. But the good part was that Gabriel went to the bench, he didn't go into the dressing room. If you had gone to the dressing room, I would have been more concerned. But the fact that he went to the bench, that kind of gave me some confidence. So let's look at the player ratings. Raya gets an 8 from me. He had such an amazing game, making some important saves in the course of the game, as you know. Then, of course, Ben White. We have Dan in the chat. Hi, Dan. Thanks for being here as always. We have Ben White. He had a 7 for me. He did well. He attacked a bit, defended a bit, showed great resilience. But clearly, I don't think he's 100% fit yet. He has some more work to do in fitness. And of course, it wasn't surprising to see Julian Timber take his place because at some point it looked like Daniel Podence was getting the better of him. Miles Lewis Kelly did very well as well. Showing the stuff as you'd expect from an Arsenal player in his position. Gabriel, that guy is just a monster, man. Another top performance from him. He also got a yellow card for time wasting. I hope that doesn't come back to bite us in the future. But basically, what happened was that we had a free kick. He wanted to take it, and he kind of stopped and allowed Raya to take it. And I think that helped the ref, who went ahead and gave him a yellow card. Saliba, our Rolls Royce defender, who just signed a new contract, put up another steady performance. No, was just did his thing as you would expect from an amazing player like him. We have our man of the match, Martin Odegaard, who was totally amazing in the entire game. Continued to spray passes, even got a beautiful assist as well because of how well he played. He could have had more than an assist. Or even had a goal that was blocked on the line by the goalie and the defender. Zubimendi, the seven, good performance as you'd expect from him. But as always, he picked up a yellow card for an infringement when he had to take one for the team. I think they were trying to hit us on the transition, and he had to kill that game real quick. Then, of course, Mikel Merino played one of his better games. A seven for me. Did very well before he left the pitch to replace Declan Rice. And the ovation he got when he was substituted showed how the fans appreciated his performance. Martinelli, a good goal, but he had a moment where Gyökeres was free on the left, yes, just Gyökeres and the goal. But Martinelli was looking on the ground and decided to take on his marker rather than pass the ball to Gyökeres. Until Gyökeres had his revenge, because there's a moment Gyökeres now had the opportunity to feed Martinelli back, but he chose to shoot instead. So Martinelli, despite the goals he has been scoring and playing well, he still needs to really step up, especially when it comes to his teamwork. Sometimes he does it, but other times he's always looking at the ground, and that thing is just something that makes him lose chances that he should have fed his teammates. Trossard clearly didn't have his shooting boots on, had many chances that he missed, many good ones as well, but obviously it was also a good performance from him. Gyökeres continued to hold up, play well, had one or two half chances that he could not take on, but it was a good game. So what does this mean for us? 2 games played, 6 games, 6 points in the Champions League. And of course, our rivals also did well. So as at the time of this recording, Arsenal is currently, let me check where they are currently on the table. I think Arsenal is fifth on the table, behind Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, PSG, Inter, Karabag. Karabag has had 2 wins so far, which is quite interesting. But what is key to note here is that we're on the right track. There are 36 teams in this competition, and obviously all of them want to make it to the next round. But one key thing to note is that Arsenal has 2 tough fixtures against Inter and Bayern Munich, and these are the teams that are currently on top of them in the Champions League. Arsenal's next game is going to be against Atletico Madrid. They lost one game and won the other. They beat Frankfurt 5-1. I think they lost their last Champions League game. That was to Liverpool. Yes, that late goal that was scored by Virgil van Dijk. And of course, this is very important. Arsenal this win also gives us now some confidence going into the West Ham game over the weekend. But one thing to note is that minus Gabriel, the other player had a clean bill of health. So I'm happy about that. So our next opponents are going to be West Ham. Obviously, I'm going to take them on, I think, on Saturday. Let me check the exact time of that fixture. It's Saturday, yep, by 3 o'clock. After that fixture, we're going to have the long time and the international break. So it will be a game that Arsenal want to win. Espirito Santo is the new coach of West Ham, and obviously he has gotten a draw against Everton in his first match, a tough away match. Again, Everton probably have won. It was Graham Potter in charge. So obviously, let's wait till then. I'm sure Arsenal still has enough in the tank to defeat the likes of West Ham. So we're going to preview the game probably on Friday. Yeah, Friday evening. I'll do the preview. We have another Fan Friday episode 9 as always as well. And of course on Saturday we do maybe a watch along and a match reaction thereabout. Let's just see how it goes. Well, I'm just happy to see that Arsenal is currently on the right path and we're getting the deserved victories. So this win puts us in a very good position moving forward. Arsenal look confident, Arsenal look ruthless and ready for our challenges ahead. So what do you think of the performance tonight? It was a very good, smooth one. No issues. Arsenal did what was expected of them, and we got the 3 points against Olympiakos. So it's quite late. I think I'm ready to hit the deck and head to bed. But please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and continue to follow us about Arsenal for more Arsenal content. Till then,